Trustee Akaka, are you on virtual? Oh, there, Dan. Aloha.
Yes, I am. I'm about to walk in.
You can pull it. Oh. Are you outside?
Yeah, I'm right outside. I'm about to walk in.
Before we start, I'm going to ask Trustee Akaka to pull it.
No.
Hi, if we can all bow our heads and pull it. Ekia kua manaloa me ke kia me ka ohana he molele ina omakua ina kingia kua amena kupuna o ka pau. Mahalo for yet again bringing us together so that we may join our minds and our hearts to better the conditions for our Native Hawaiian people. And we pray that you take us into this holiday season, this day, in joyous spirits, and bring us together and keep us safe as we continue on. And that may all have a joyous and hau'oli Halloweeni.
You just came in.
Amama wanoa lele wale ako. Amen.
I want.
Mahalo, Trustee. I would like to call today's Board of Trustees meeting to order. Let the record reflect it is Thursday, October 31st, 2024, and the time is 10:05 a.m. Happy Halloween, everybody. I'm going to ask Lehua to call the roll. Trustees.
Trustee Ahuna,
Eu.
Trustee Akaka, Ew. Trustee Akina is not here yet. Trustee Alapa is not here yet. Trustee Galuteria.
Eu.
Trustee Souza.
Eu.
Trustee Trask.
Present.
Trustee Waihe'e.
Present.
Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Present.
We have 7 trustees present. We have quorum.
Thank you. Aloha kako. Welcome to our Board of Trustees meeting this morning. This meeting can be viewed and observed via live stream on OHA's website at www.oha.org/livestream. Joining us today, we have our CEO, Kapohana Stacy Ferreira. I would like to ask Stacy to introduce any administrative staff joining us today.
Mahalo Chair, aloha kakahiaka kako, trustees. Joining us today in the boardroom, we have Chief Operating Officer Kehau Pu'u, Chief Financial Officer Ramona Hink, Interim Corporation Counsel Everett Ota, Interim Senior Legal Counsel Nichi Ozawa, Senior Director of Strategy and Implementation Elena Fardin, Senior Director of Hawaiian Cultural Affairs Hailama Fardin, Lead Compliance Specialist Kamakana Ferreira, Director of Oiwi Wellbeing and Aina Momona Kuike Kamakea Ohelo, Director of Economic and Business Resilience, Pony Askew, Director of Land Assets, Tim Wong, Interim Public Policy Manager, Michelle McCoy, IT Systems Engineer Administrators, Daniel Santos, and Arlene Aguinaldo. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Kapohana. I would like to introduce our board counsel, Naivi Werdeman, who is joining us today. Naivi. Mahalo, Stacy. Before we begin, I would like to mention that 3, C, and D were received under the 72-hour deadline due to the quick turnaround of committee meetings yesterday. First on the agenda is item 3A, action item BOT 2405, to approve the proposed real estate strategies related to OHA's acquisition and management of investment and non-investment real estate. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this item?
No one is signed up to speak on this item.
May I call on Sam Chung?
Good morning, trustees. As you guys are well aware, we've been going through the different real estate strategies that Peregrine is recommending. So what we're asking today, and Paul will do a presentation, but is to approve, but we are deferring the governance in terms of Hakone and the LLC structure or any of the other options. So that part of it is not part of the approval today. Paul?
Mahalo, Sam, and thank you everybody for letting us be here today. What is presented today is board approvals of a comprehensive real estate strategy that will include, among other elements, sections dealing with best practices, asset allocation, prudent investment standards, land management, balancing economic and cultural values for the organization, and addressing the types of properties that OHA should own going forward. Upon approval of this action item, you will fulfill one of the obligations set forth in the 2007 Board of Trustees policy, which set forth an obligation to establish a real estate strategy. Among other things, it also requires a business model and an operating plan, which is a future phase of work that we expect to perform. And this action item will also address some of the findings within the March 2023 state performance audit, which identified a lack of strategy as one of their findings. As you know, this action item has been preceded by 3 trustee workshops. The first workshop was held on September 19th, and the focus of the first workshop was on OHA's current state, industry best practices, and then the desired state for OHA. The second workshop on October 10th focused on a review of the desired state and also previewed the proposed strategy recommendations that you see herein. On October 24th, we held the third workshop at the request of the board to discuss and deliberate specifically upon the recommendations for Hakuone regarding the use of LLCs and having a separate governance structure for the future development of Hakuone. As I think we would all agree in this group today, the issues around Hakuone are very complex. And as a result, we don't believe that a consensus emerged from the October 24th meeting. And as a result, we amended our findings from those set forth in October 10th, our recommendations, and suggested that what we should do, and this is reflected in the action item, is defer a decision on Hakuone until sometime in the first quarter of 2025. And what the board will do between now and then is deliberate further on 4 alternatives, which would include a single-purpose LLC with a separate board and separate staff versus a master joint venture, a master ground lease, or an outright sale of Hakuone. And so we've now put that in as our recommendation in this action item. We feel that this is prudent, as it's more important to get the strategy right than to come to a decision quickly. However, I just do want to highlight that by deferring that decision today, it will delay the real estate business model and operating plan for the organization, because Hakuone is such a a integral part of what that plan might look like. Nevertheless, we will work with the future board on coming to some determination on Hakuone in the first quarter, and then we can wrap up that portion of the strategy and then move into the development of the business model and the operating plan. I don't feel it's necessary because it's in front of you in the attached memo to go through each of the strategies. So at this point, I'll just turn it over and see if there's any comments or any questions directed to us. And thank you again.
Trustee Trask.
Trustees, because of what has occurred here and several efforts that I've made to raise problems, I'm letting you know now that I have forwarded my concerns both to state and federal agents. The preliminary review, especially focusing on Hakuone, demonstrates that numerous board and committee meetings, RM, as well as BAE, have been held in violation of the Sunshine Law by waiving the 72 hours. The other thing that was pointed out to me is that we're required with specificity as a state agency to post the agenda. Look at what we have before us is a darn good example. Action item A and all of the last action items that have come up in the last year and a half do not follow the law. Action item A should have been listed with Peninsula, Peregrine, and Schatz as we identify everything else under B. But each time real estate development comes up, we have failed not only to meet the 72-hour law, but also we have failed to identify that it is Peregrine, Peninsula, and Schatz. FBI tells me this is done because there was no RFP or contract. And they asked, I mean, where's the contract with Schatz? Our office doesn't have one. And that was clarified in the last 2 meetings. Where's the contract with Peregrine? We don't have one. We only hired Peninsula. And if you look at the contract, it's not to do a proposed real estate strategy. Before we get there, trustees, we're supposed to post an RFP. Each time you have waived the 72-hour rule, and I'll tell you, when I went back all the way to the minutes, all the minutes on these discussions all the way through 2023 and 24 haven't been posted. We're over 1 year behind, Calais, 1 year.
Incorrect, that was online.
That was online, but I'm telling you, I'm working with state and federal now, and they're reviewing it. Why did we post this agenda and not give people 72 hours? Why did we not say this is from Peninsula, Peregrine, and Schatz, and it's because we don't have an underlying contract? For that reason, I filed these objections. You need to post an RFP to see who can do a real estate strategy. And if you don't believe it, you better go and look at the contracts. We only have one, it's with Peninsula. We don't have any contract with Peregrine or Schatz. They're subcontractors to Peninsula. Peninsula was not hired to do a real estate strategy, but also the tape from our last meeting has a presentation in which Peninsula and Peregrine are talking about the wharf. They did not do the work on the wharf. The wharf revetment was done as part of the due diligence by Kuilei, and they paid thousands of dollars for it. OHA took this property with trustees that are still on this board, and you never did an RFP. You never did the wharf revetment. But in your last meeting, you had, for the public record, referred to the data on the wharf You have not paid them. I was advised earlier that I should not take any action as long as I'm a trustee. So now I have decided that I will make this my last intervention, and I place you on notice that following this, I will join the beneficiaries and I will proceed with litigation. And the next time you do an agenda, you better get it in by 72 hours, trustee. What we're doing is regularly waiving the sunshine law. And look at your own agenda. We are required to report with specificity. Why is this the 6th time Peregrine Peninsula and Shots come on the agenda and they are not identified under number A? I'm just telling you what I'm getting from Condo and from the FBI, but I will not raise it again. And I will see you shortly when I leave office. Yourself
Thank you,
as well,
trustee.
Linda, and yourself as well, Paul. You don't have a contract for this. You've been paid thousands of dollars, well over 100. And all of that money was diverted from another RFP account.
Before I continue with questions from trustees, from trustee, we do have a beneficiary that want to speak. Lehua?
Aloha, Jermaine. Did you sign up
Alo-
to speak on this this
Ye-
item?
y- Yeah, and I just realized maybe I had accidentally checked no, but I was scrolling down and I thought I had checked yes. So that's why I had raised my hand. Is it okay to give testimony now?
Yes, we haven't taken a motion yet, so you can speak to this item now.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
you.
Aloha trustees, my name is Jermaine Myers. I'm an OHA beneficiary for beneficiary advocacy and empowerment. I'm also a Nanakuli Hawaiian homestead lessee. I just heard what was spoken by Paragraph, but also by Trustee Trask. It really hurts my soul to hear that a trustee that I had esteemed is now talking about threats regarding violations of sunshine law. This is not a violation of sunshine law. I
72
had actually,
hours.
can I speak? I have the floor. I hope that didn't
72
affect my
hours.
time. Didn't affect my time, which I can't even see a clock right at this moment. But anyway, what I was concerned about is, I contact OIP a lot, and this is not a violation. When you have a subcontractor, that's okay. You don't even have to put them on it. What's being discussed is actually on the agenda. You don't have to have it so detailed about who's involved and all that kind of stuff. The other thing is that I'm concerned that Trustee Trask is, again, conflict of interest. We all know that she's been part of Kuile. And what my concern is that she's making all these threats under the banner of a conflict of interest. That is called intimidation, and it's called hostile intimidation because of she comes under the banner of conflict of interest. My other concern is making these threats about talking to Mr. Lescondo. He doesn't get involved in things like this. And with the FBI, what happened to the other, the audit? Those are the things that was supposed to be done by the FBI. But a contract over Haku One, that's where I'm concerned that someone's private interest, a trustee's private interest, is being threatened by this onto this board and on the beneficiaries. When a trustee is threatening that they're going to sue OHA, then you're asking OHA or you're asking the beneficiaries to get on board with all the money that's going to be involved in a legal lawsuit. So in other words, you want to drain the trust in a frivolous lawsuit because you're concerned that your friends lost the contract. That is just frightful to me. When someone that has come to OHA to ask for accountability and transparency and to have fiscal responsibility, to be so irresponsible with threatening of a lawsuit because their friend lost a contract. That's what this boils down to. And I'm just tired of hearing it because there's so much work to be done. and so much focus on strategies and on implementation. And to hear a trustee come to the board with all this kind of threatening. I talked to Trustee Akina last year on a private Zoom meeting and talked to him about how disturbed I was with this kind of actions on the board. And I cried my heart out to him because I was like, why is she talking like that? We shouldn't be threatening each other. I have never come to OHA in all my years and threatened trustees. I have asked for accountability. I've asked for correction, but I have never gone to the media and go, let's get on OHA, because I know that we shouldn't be putting our mana'o and our issues and our kuleana to the public. We should be discussing them civilly to one another. And that's why we cannot have a nation. When we have leaders not setting an example to the administration, to the employees, and to other trustees, but instead coming on the table with private agendas of threatening other trustees, that has got to stop. I am going to come to my beneficiaries in Anakuli and ask them that we need to come to OHA and stop this type of actions and behavior. You cannot say that you care about the trust when you're worried about a multi-million-dollar contract and your friend losing $500,000. You cannot. And you cannot drain our trust of legal fees because you want to slap somebody with retaliation and this kind of frivolous action. That needs to stop. I have never been a beneficiary to support this kind of behavior and this kind of distrust and actions against each other. We should be able to come and talk with sense. I have mentioned that I don't want an LLC, but it doesn't mean that we want to threaten each other with lawsuits. We want to understand through prayer that God will move your hearts to make the right decisions. It's just so bothersome for me. So I just need to stop at this moment. Thank you for this time for me sharing. And Kia Kuapu, God bless all of you.
Thank you. So trustees, any more questions regarding the action item before us? And maybe I should ask for the motion and then we can have a discussion. Fortunately, we do have our attorney here today. And if you have any questions about this action, he is here to answer questions. I'll entertain a motion now for this action.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I move to approve the proposed real estate strategies related to OHA's acquisition and management of investment and non-investment real estate.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Oh, Trustee Ahuna. I cannot hear you.
No, thank you, Madam Chair. No, I just wanted to make sure, I've been listening very carefully and, I thought I heard, the information that we're gathering today, we're looking to defer this measure?
No. We just moved for the approval for the proposed real estate strategies related to OHA's acquisition and management of investment and non-investment real estate.
So maybe
so you
maybe
didn't-
I can clarify this for you, Trustee Ahuna. There are 5 strategies that are recommended for the investment lands and 4 strategies that are recommended for the legacy lands. And one of the strategy recommendations was specific to Hakuone. That was and that's the strategy that we're recommending deferment on. But since the balance were not too controversial from our workshops, we're recommending approval of the remainder and then more discussion on the Hakuone strategy.
Yeah, thank you so much for clarifying all of that. Yeah, no, this is a rough time. I remember Waimea Valley when we had to split that one up too. So, yeah, you know, we have to go through it. People have to understand that. Okay, thank you so much. Aloha.
Trustee Wahehe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was wondering, if we, in the future, if we have a discussion on the LLCs, and that proposal, is it possible to get like some kind of analysis on our Waimea Valley, like operating model and how that LLC functions? Just so I have a context of what's going to be different, or because I feel like every time I say something, a bad experience I had with the LLC, then they'll just say, well, that's just because the original, the execution of that LLC was such that that could happen, but we're not going to do that. But then I don't, like, when we passed it the first time, I wasn't aware that I had to worry about those things. So that's what concerns me. Like, I don't know what, everything that would need to be in the next contract to assure me of things not happening when I don't understand the context of the first one and why we
Exactly,
set it up that way in the first place.
exactly.
So I mean, is it possible to get that kind of analysis of the Waimea Valley properties and what that LLC model was and why, what we would change from that if you were going to recommend an LLC?
Yes, then there were some other things that had been suggested at the workshop on the 24th that we would incorporate into future workshops. So yes, we'll make sure that we cover that.
Trustee Akina.
Thank you. I'd like to follow up on Trustee Ahuna's question. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to follow up on Trustee Ahuna's question, and perhaps the preparers of the action item can affirm what we heard today. What I'm hearing is that of the 5 strategies that we've considered and have been proposed to us, we will only be voting on the 4 strategies which pertain to legacy lands today, and we will not be taking any action with regard to Haku One or the potential use of an LLC. Is my understanding correct?
That's not what the action item reads. It says
Correct.
strategies related to OHA's acquisition and management of investment and non-investment real estate. That's it. No decision on Haku One and its structure. No decision.
So strategy 4 on page 10 of the memo is the deals specifically with Haku One. And what you'll see is that the action item says that the board will review 4 options and a final determination should be arrived at in the first quarter of 2025. So it's in the strategy, but what we've effectively done is deferred any decision as to which direction would be taken on Haku One until the first quarter of 2025.
I think what I stated earlier is a correct understanding. And
Yeah.
as I continue reading from the same section here on page 11, strategy 4, it says, transfer Haku One to a single purpose LLC with separate staff and governance to build a project team capable of unlocking Haku One's development potential. My understanding then is that we are not voting to approve that today.
That is correct. That's not being approved at this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Just an informational question. Did Kamehameha Schools use the LLC structure in its development of its
No.
Kaka'ako properties? And how did that
Um,
go?
The simple answer is no,
No.
not for its holdings, but it did enter into LLCs for specific vertical developments in which it was a joint venture partner.
I'd be interested in learning more about their experience. And finally, to the administration, in the preparation of this action item, was there a legal review of the merits and demerits of our use of LLCs?
No, that's one of the items that came out of the workshop on the 24th that we'll bring back in when we do further deliberations on this.
Okay. Madam Chair, I think we would need to have that kind of legal review of the merits and demerits of LLCs before we continue our discussion on this. I mean, in the future.
Yes, I agree. But I think they left it completely out because we're not considering Haku'one's structure today. We're looking strictly at strategies. Okay,
Yes, and so what I'm understanding is that if we vote to affirm this, we are only voting on the 4 strategies pertaining to legacy lands.
Paul, could you clarify what we're voting on?
Yes, so, sorry, trustee, I want to make sure that I'm clear about this. What you would be approving are, and if somebody could pull the memo back up, I think it would be helpful. On page 8, there's a strategy 1, which is to increase financial returns. And there's a list of tactics 1 through 6. Item 6 would not be approved, but 1 through 5 would. Then there is strategy 2, which is to improve performance management and reporting. And there's a series of tactics there that would be approved. Strategy 3 is to reduce operational risks. And there's again a series of tactics. What would be deferred is 2 and 3. Strategy 4, which is unlock Haku'one value, is going to be deferred in its entirety. And strategy 5, which is to generate non-financial outcomes aligned with the strategic plan, would be approved. Those are all as to the investment lands. And then as to the legacy lands, there are 4 tactics. Strategy 1 is to provide long-term financial stability. And there's 5 tactics that are associated with that. There's strategy 2, which is to optimize environmental and cultural stewardship. And there's 6 tactics associated with that. Strategy 3 is to expand programmatic outcomes on legacy lands. And there are 7 tactics associated with that. And strategy 4 is to reduce operational risks. There's 4 strategies. Strategy 1 would be deferred. Or tactic 1 would be deferred, excuse me.
Paul, on strategy 4, where you are right now, page 15, item 1, hold each asset within a separate LLC to isolate financial losses. What is the status of that in this proposal now? Is that included?
That would be deferred. That's what the footnote is there, is that item would be deferred until there's a further deliberation of use of LLCs across the organization.
Paul, that was a very helpful walkthrough, and it helped to inform me of what the intention is here. But to the chair, I would say, I think we need to clean the document up, even if it's to take 5 or 10 minutes to rewrite it, so that we have before us precisely what we're voting on.
It would have been cleaner. Paul,
Yes.
the items that have been removed is confusing to some of the trustees in that it's listed here, but it's deferred. And then I see the footnotes on some and not on others. So I believe they would like to have those items cleaned up.
So I think that the proposed action could be cleaned up to read to approve the real estate strategies related to OHA's acquisition and management of investment lands and non-investment lands, but to defer recommendations on Hakuone and the use of LLCs until further deliberation, which is anticipated in the first quarter of 2025.
Our board secretary will type out what you just said and we'll have our board council review it. Paul, can you repeat that again? That last
Right.
paragraph you just
Yeah.
mentioned?
But to defer the recommendations on Hakuone and the use of LLCs until there is further board deliberation.
And
I'll rescind my original motion.
yeah, right. And to chair,
Yes.
I think we need clarification as to which specific clauses are going to be excluded. And if it's
Okay.
at all possible, a quick reworking of the document to be reviewed by council.
Paul, can you go through what you said is not applicable and what is applicable when it came to the discussion of the LLCs? That's to make it clearer to the trustees what they're approving today as far as strategies.
Ah.
We don't want to approve any strategy
Yeah.
that's not applicable.
Sure. Strategy 1, tactic 6.
And Paul,
Strategy,
for clarification, you're simply repeating what you went through earlier, correct?
right, that is correct.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the reclarification for our records.
So I'm
Strategy
going to
1,
call a
tactic,
5-minute recess while you're making that correction.
okay. Strategy 1, tactic 6. Strategy 3, tactic 3. Strategy 4 in its entirety. And just to be clear, those are all related to the investment lands. And then for the legacy lands, it is strategy 4, tactic 1. I believe that's a comprehensive list.
Strategy 4, item 1. Do you have? Huh? We're amending the document, yeah.
So, and just to look at the motion, maybe it would be more accurate to read, but to defer the recommendations on, and then list all of those items I just listed until there's further board deliberation.
So we just need trustee Souza to rescind his motion.
Paul, does that look accurate in its form? Does he hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Paul, it's Melissa. I just wanted to confirm with you that for strategy 3 in investment lands, it should actually be tactic 2 and 3. Is that accurate? That's what I was given when I was highlighting.
Yes, that's correct. I apologize.
Okay, thank you.
How long is the recess? Can somebody tell me?
I don't know yet. Everybody's in here though. But we're ready when they are.
Trustees. Luana is on.
Trustee Souza.
Madam Chair, I'd like to rescind my second
Okay,
for the last motion model.
thank
Oh,
you.
better. You better.
So it's been moved and seconded that motion be withdrawn, and we have a new motion before the board.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve the proposed real estate strategies related to OHA's acquisition and management of investment and non-investment real estate, but to defer the recommendations on investment land strategies and tactic, strategy 1, tactic 6, strategy 3, tactic 2 and 3, strategy 4 in its entirety, legacy land strategies and tactics, strategy 4, tactic 1, until there is further board deliberation.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Are there any questions of our board counsel? Trustee Aquina?
Yes, thank you. First, unrelated to this question of the content of the proposal, I wanted to ask about something that wasn't mentioned directly. We have a couple of properties, 500 North Nimitz and the storefront at 501 Sumner. They're not earning money at this time, and currently they're attracting a lot of activity that's not desirable for the individuals involved in the community. I don't see them listed in our real estate strategy, and I'm just wondering if how they factor in. Maybe I missed them, but are they part of the real estate strategy going forward? And
Absolutely, they'd be addressed in the in the broader sense of the way the other strategies come together in terms of trying to increase profitability, increase reporting. There's some structural issues, as you not structural, physical structural, but there are some issues that are affecting the leasability of those properties that we think can be addressed. And in strategy 1, tactic 4, where you create a profit enhancement team, that might be how you address those kinds of issues, is by having a hit team address them.
okay, I understand, Paul. So although we don't single it out as we do Hakuone, they are included in the broader statements regarding all the property that we own.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Paul.
And I'd just like to add, Trustee Aquina, our land holdings are listed on page 3 of our action item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was referring to any strategy for those
I see.
particular
Thank you.
properties, but thank you.
Any other discussion? Trustee Trask?
Could I see the graphic up again that you're proposing we vote on? Okay, let's take a look at it. Trustees, I wanted to begin by informing you that as a result of the last audit, the board voted to support recommendations because we did not have either a strategy or policies in place with regards to the management of assets. And this was the case for real property, but it was also the case for stocks and bonds. At that time, the board decided that we could not proceed with what we had, and we needed to hire an independent investment consultant. That is Vijay Chatterjee, the independent investment consultant. In February of 2024, our record indicates that we had determined that we should go through policy with Vijay as an independent consultant, both for investment and for real estate. That's why we're in training with Vijay. And if you go back and look at it, the training involves not only investment, but the real estate. People at OHA didn't want to do that because they were proceeding with another real estate approach under Peninsula, Peregrine, and Schatz, which had not been RFP'd. So now we're supposed to be looking at a proposed real estate strategy relating to acquisition and management for investment and non-investment. Then you change the motion to delete investment lands, to delete legacy lands. Why are we going through this exercise? And the reason is because we have another plan, the Peregrine Schatz plan. We have yet to take action on the independent consultant's proposal. And I can't get it back on the agenda, either with RM or BAE or the board. When you look at the motion we're voting on, we're looking at our real estate strategies, acquisition and management. We never returned this back to the board for action as was suggested by VJoy. And now we're replacing all of his proposed training with us, and we're gonna stick this in. What this is it's a motion to get us to approve a new contractor. A new contractor. I think if you're gonna defer anything, it's not until further board deliberation. You need to defer it until we're done with our training with the independent advisor we hired so that we know, will we hold on to property? Is it time to let it go and put it into stocks and bonds? That's why we hired VJoy. It doesn't make sense to approve
you.
a proposed real estate strategy exempting legacy lands and the investment lands. This should not have been brought on the agenda. And you can see when you read it that it doesn't make sense. I'm glad some trustees are Kanalua.
Thank you,
Because we have
trustee.
the responsibility. I don't need your thanks, Hulu. Stop playing games with this thing. We can't approve a proposed strategy when we haven't even talked to our independent consultant and you refuse to put it on the board agenda. But why would we do this? What kind of a real estate strategy is it? We can't look at the investment lands. We can't look at the legacy lands. So we can't look at Haku One and we can't look at our real estate development at Kaka'ako either.
Trustees, any other questions? Otherwise, I'll ask our board secretary to call the roll.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza. Trustee Trask,
No,
Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay,
Yes,
8 yes, 1 ole.
thank you. We're moving on to new business, Committee on Resource Management. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up to speak on items B 1 through 8?
We have no one signed up to speak on B through 8.
Trustee
B1 through
Waihe'e.
8.
Mhm.
Madam Chair, I move to approve a revision to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Board of Trustees bylaws to split the Committee on Resource Management into the Committee on Budget and Finance and the Committee on Investment and Land Management as set forth in Attachment E.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Ahuna,
Kanalua.
Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Alapa.
Yes.
Trustee Galuteria.
Aye.
Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Trask. Trustee Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay,
Yes.
Trustee Ahuna,
Kanalua,
and Trustee Trask.
Trustee Wahehe?
Okay, we have one abstention and 7 yes.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve revisions to the Native Hawaiian Trust Fund Investment Policy Statement that adopts a new investment program structure from a manager's implementation to a non-discretionary investment consulting approach as set forth in attachment A as amended, and approve the delegation of authority to the administration to implement the changes, terminate manager agreements, and transition selected investments into existing passive index funds.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Ahuna,
Kanalua,
Trustee Akaka. Aye. Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa,
Aye.
Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Trask, Trustee Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay,
Yes.
and Trustee Ahuna.
yes.
We have 8 yes votes.
Thank you. Trustee Wahehe?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize the following fiscal year 2025 event sponsorship disbursement totaling $5,000. Ohio Kamehameha for the 2024 Papa Ali'i Royal Order of Kamehameha, the first convention.
It's been moved and seconded. Trustee Akina?
Madam Chair, just a question on this. Have all the issues regarding moratorium on sponsorship been cleared up with reference to this or any other?
Yes, they have been cleared up. Naivi? If you have more questions, we'll be happy to go into executive session.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we go into executive session.
Second,
It's been moved that we go into executive session. We don't have to withdraw. We can come back and make that decision. Or can I go into executive session? If we have a
Chair,
Yes,
you said Naivi is here, yeah, today?
yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just us and him.
I'm going to ask trustee Wahehe and trustee Souza to withdraw their motion so that we can go into executive session. So noted from both what they were asking, depending what their questions are. Attorney consultation. Yeah. Trustee Souza made the motion to go into executive session.
I'm not proposing they.
We're not going into executive session right away. As a result of our beneficiaries here on other items, I'm going to go out of order and take care of them first and then come back to this item.
Uh, Chair.
Yes, trustee.
So can I withdraw the first motion before we do that? Or can I, my second, or,
You didn't make the motion.
okay, so I think I second it, sorry.
Okay, it's been withdrawn, trustee. So I'll just jump to the um, yeah, where do we see? The last two. So, trustee Akaka, in your joint committee yesterday, I'm going to ask you to read the motion, please.
Yeah. Madam Chair, your joint committees on beneficiary advocacy and empowerment and resource management having met on October 30th, 2024, and after full and free discussion, recommends approval of the following motion to the Board of Trustees. Motion 1 relating to the budget of the Office of Foreign Affairs. Approve OHA's proposed bill relating to the budget of the Office of Foreign Affairs for the biennium period of FY 2026, 2025 through 2026, and FY 2027, 2026 through 2027 to be included as part of OHA's 2025 legislative package as drafted in Attachment A.
Second.
Any questions from the trustees? Roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Can you guys post the the action item up if it's possible?
The fiscal
we're just
biennium
ratifying.
budget.
I went kind of low for now. I don't think I was at this meeting before this, relating to.
Yesterday.
Oh, yesterday, this is yesterday. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm kind of low.
Okay. He came in partway.
I think so. Trustee Ahuna,
He said Kanalua.
Kind of low.
mahalo. Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa,
Aye.
Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Budget bill.
Oh, aye.
Trustee Trask, Trustee Waihe'e, Chair Hulu Lindsay,
Yes.
and Trustee Ahuna.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of low. I don't even remember. I didn't come to yesterday morning meeting. Sorry, kind of low.
7 yes, 1 abstention.
Trustee Akaka.
Madam Chair, the motion 2, amending and final approval, approve amending OHA's proposed bill relating to the budget of the Office of Foreign Affairs as needed to make appropriate technical, ministerial, non-substantive edits for style, clarity, consistency, and accuracy for final submission to the 2025 legislative session. This includes preamble language for framing and editorial purposes as needed, titles of measure for strategic and clarifying reasons, and labeling the measure for tracking.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Roll call.
Mahalo. Trustee Ahuna,
No.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa,
Aye.
Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Trask, Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Yes.
You have 7 yes votes, 1 aole.
Thank you. Trustee Akaka. Okay. Before we take action on the next item, we do have people wanting to speak. Board Secretary?
Our first speaker is Laulani Teal.
5 minutes, 5 minutes.
Mahalo. Aloha trustees, aloha to everyone who's online as well. Mahalo, my name is Laulani Teal and I am with the E Hanau movement and also I am the coordinator for the E Hanau Kupuna Council and the Ho'opaipono Peace Project, which has been working on this issue for a long time. And I just want to mahalo everyone who was here yesterday and who is here today for passing the support of our legislative bill that is going forward, which will protect traditional birthing rights as well as a CPM pathway, a clinical pathway for that our Kanaka families can access. I won't go through my presentation again, but hopefully folks have been able to review it and we're here for any questions. So I just want to give my deep mahalo to everyone who was here. It was a wonderful discussion yesterday. And I do also want to say that we were able to meet with Papa Ololokahi outside on Uncle Brickwood's recommendation with Trustee Gualterio's strong recommendation to me to meet with them, and we have met with them and are setting up a preliminary meeting. And I'm very confident that we will work out the details that were requested. So mahalo nui loa.
Great, that's great. Thank you for coming again, Laulani.
Our second speaker is Christy.
Um, aloha, my name is Christy Dort. Just wanted to give a quick thank you from our family. It was a big moment yesterday to have the support and to be able to move forward, to be able to work together with Papa Ololokahi, and just to be able to move into this next session is huge. And just want to thank you from my, the future, our future. My daughter she shared, it's been testifying since she was 6 years old. And yesterday was just another opportunity, and mahalo.
Thank you. You're three keiki? Oh, thank you.
Nice suit.
Okay. Any questions, trustees? Roll call.
I have
Oh,
to read the motion.
sorry, jumping the gun.
Madam Chair, your Committee on Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment, having met on October 30th, 2024, and after full and free discussion, recommends approval of the following motion to the Board of Trustees to provide OHA support for a 2025 bill for increased access and protection of traditional and customary birth practices as proposed by E Hanau.
It's been moved and seconded. Any more questions? Roll call.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka, Trustee Akina, Trustee Alapa, Trustee Galuteria, Trustee Souza, Trustee Trask has left the meeting. Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Yes,
We have 8 yes votes.
thank you, trustees. Trustee Akaka.
We have two people signed up for the next agenda item, which is D2. I'd like to call upon Keani Rollins.
Kiani? Kiani, are you there?
Aloha, I
Mm.
am. It's just the process
Aloha.
changing me from an attendee in the webinar to a panelist. It takes about like 10 seconds. So just it's
Oh, okay.
never been turned from a participant to a panelist. That's why it takes a couple minutes or a couple seconds before I respond to you. I did sign up for the item before. And I just wanted to quickly mahalo the BAE committee for unanimously voting to recommend passage, and then after you've taken the vote now, so mahalo for supporting it as a entire board. Aloha mai o vau o Maui County Councilmember Kiani Rollins Fernandez. Mahalo for this opportunity to testify on agenda item D2, BAE 2405, approval of the 2025 OHA legislative package in opposition of Bill 1, and therefore urging the trustees to vote against approving this bill for inclusion into your package. As I mentioned yesterday, the only reason I knew this package was on the agenda is because I was asked to testify in support of Ea Hano. I saw it on I saw the package on the agenda and had to wait until the day before the meeting to see the meeting materials. And so mahalo to Trustee Ahuna and Trustee Waihe'e for voting against recommending the BOT approve this bill for inclusion. After listening to the proponents' deliberation yesterday on Bill 1, it became clear to me that their positions are set to introduce the bill to exempt OHA from Sunshine Law regardless of oppositional testimony from beneficiaries. So the hope with my testimony today is to solidify the votes of Trustee Ahuna and Trustee Waihe'e, and to urge our Molokai Trustee Alapa to vote no, since she was not at the BAE meeting yesterday. And it sounds like Trustee Trask and Trustee Akina would vote no. And that would be all the votes necessary to not include this bill into the package. For the trustees and the public who were not in attendance of the BAE meeting yesterday, I'll distill the common theme from proponents of comments. Following the Sunshine Law is too hard. So we don't want to do it. And that because OHA is like the legislature, it should be given the same exemption. OHA, every county council, and the state and county boards and commissions are governed by Sunshine Law, as well as neighborhood boards. Everyone except the legislature must comply with Sunshine Law. The ED's one reason explaining how OHA is like the legislature because it addresses issues statewide is a weak argument. Here's just a few reasons explaining how OHA is not like the legislature. They are bicameral, you're unicameral. Their session is 5 months, you're year-round. They have 76 legislators to work with, 51 representatives, 25 senators, you have 9 trustees. Their budget is about 25 billion with a B. OHA's budget is, and I couldn't even find this information, 89 million, less than 100 million, nothing near a billion. They have oversight by an executive branch that can veto their bills. OHA has no oversight to prevent the passage of concerning legislation like this one. The ironic thing is I don't even support them being exempted from Sunshine Law. Sunshine Law should apply to them as well. You can't tell me you aren't tired of their backdoor dealings too. Transitioning to a year-round session like OHA would make it more logistically possible, and I support all of that for the legislature. I'd like to now go over the proponents' rationale for supporting this bill. In yesterday's meeting, the ED stated that statewide impact, fiduciary responsibility, confidential conversations, and budget in caucus are all reasons to support this. The legislature discussing how budget allocations will be determined in caucus is not good practice, not a standard to aspire to. Iwi kupuna desecration was also cited as another reason. Easy. Solve that by making a general policy for your talking points. Chair Hulu explained that she's supporting it because 2 trustees were allowed to go to Kauai and 9 might have wanted to go. Easy. Plan ahead, and then you can all go. Trustee Galataria explained that because it's a semi-autonomous different rules for flexibility, privacy, and what I heard was non-transparency and lack of accountability. What do you want to say that you wouldn't want beneficiaries to hear? Trustee Souza explained that sunshine law is counterproductive. Beneficiaries think trustees are hiding stuff. Sunshine law would be a benefit to beneficiaries, and we aren't trying to hide anything. It's not about making sure people know what decisions were made. It's about making sure beneficiaries have the opportunity to provide feedback for consideration before the final decision is voted on. One's perception is one's reality. You try to remove rules requiring transparency and inclusion in decision-making, and it makes people think you're hiding, and that becomes their reality. Now for the argument that it would be easier to operate without complying with sunshine law. Look, if you took the time to learn sunshine law well enough, you'd understand how it can be less convenient. But you have to invest the time to understand it. Don't request to be exempt because you refuse to learn it. It's like a child refusing to eat vegetables. It's
Thank you.
good for
Thank
you,
you,
whether you
Councilman.
like it or not. Sunshine
Thank
law
you.
protects the minority from being bullied and threatened by the majority.
Thank you,
Sunshine
Councilwoman.
law is a disinfectant. It helps you prevent dirty dealings and corruption. I wanted to rally people to testify in opposition.
Thank you.
Instead, I strongly support OHA to create a bill.
Your time is up.
Chair, one last thing. I'd support OHA establishing term limits of 2 terms. And that would be under HRS 13D-5. 2 4-year terms and
We're
POW.
not talking, we don't have that on
Mahalo,
the
Chair.
agenda. Thank you.
Mahalo, Councilwoman, for testifying.
Oh, mahalo, Trustee Aquina. I hope you vote no.
Second speaker, please.
The second speaker that signed up for this item is Luann Langford Favorito. Luann, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Aloha, Anne. Did you unmute yourself? You look like you're muted. Okay.
Hi, aloha. So
Aloha.
like she said, it's like a delayed when you get a chance. So anyways, thank you so much. Aloha, good morning, board. I wanted
Aloha.
testify on this item. That was a hard act to follow, by the way. So here's my mana'o. Members of the Lahui are passionately engaged with matters and issues concerning. Allowing this change does not give clear access to the discussions, and flexibility and decision-making outside of the public feels a little secretive. We have public testimony that does have guidelines with allowable time. And I agree, using executive session to meet privately addresses sensitive and confidential issues and gives the board that flexibility, which is currently in practice. I wanted to add, this process allows our lahui to scrutinize and participate in protecting our interests. Thank you all very much, and ha'olila heluili.
Aloha, mahalo for coming.
Okay, we're moving on to the BAE action items. Action item 2405, approval of the 2025 OHA legislative bill package. Kapohana, do you want to add anything to the motions that we have? We do have the legislative package, including the Salary Commission and Island Burial Council. And I don't see it.
Nothing additional to add, Chair. We stand on the comments made, provided by trustees yesterday. Mahalo.
So did you want to touch on the Sunshine Bill that she spoke about?
Yeah, I have nothing additional to add. I stand on the comments that trustees provided yesterday based on their working experience under the Sunshine Law. It is very restrictive and prohibitive from the work at hand for the board, and there's nothing additional to add to that. And all trustees were provided in their materials. So even those that were not in attendance yesterday have been given ample time to review the materials and to make their informed decision based on the conversations as of yesterday and materials that they had.
Thank you. Trustee Akaka.
Madam Chair, your Committee on Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment, having met on October 30th, 2024, and after full and free discussion, recommends approval of the following motion to the Board of Trustees. Motion 1, to approve the measure entitled OHA 1 relating to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Board of Trustees meeting requirements to be included in the 2025 OHA legislative package as provided in Attachment A.
Is there a second? It's in your packet.
It's not, this is a committee report. It's such a fast turnaround. There's no finished committee report in your.
Madam Chair, is this the measure related to?
Yes.
Forgive me, because the wording of the motion is slightly. That seems.
Your discussion, please.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, I apologize I was not able to be here yesterday for the first discussion of this. I had a previously made commitment and had to travel, but I thank you for your understanding. I know we've thought long and hard about this, and I've tried very carefully to understand the arguments that have been put forth to request that OHA not be subject to the Sunshine Law. And I understand them because I share with you the desire to do the work that we have been given to do. I share with you the desire to be able to communicate and be able to be efficient and be able to be timely in the decision making. And of course, that serves the Lahui. But I'm going to recommend that we not pass this. And my reason for that has to do with two factors. The most important one is that I think we need to be in a period of time of building trust. Trust with our Lahui, trust with the state of Hawaii, trust with all the people. Last legislative session and the one before, our packages failed miserably at the legislature. There were a lot of reasons, but we weren't trusted as I think we need to be. When I first became a trustee, SMS Research had done a study that we commissioned, and it found that of all the Ali'i trusts, we were the least trustworthy. And during that time, today to now, we've had at least 2 forensic reviews in which a high amount of fraud, waste, and abuse have been discovered. I don't need to go on with this, but I do need to say that it troubles me that our level of trustworthiness in the community is not what it should be. And we have an opportunity here to reaffirm the trustworthiness by telling our lahui and citizens of the state that we're as transparent and as open as we can be. Sunshine Law has some provisions that may actually be difficult to implement and maybe not necessary, every single one of them. But embracing Sunshine Law tells the people we want to be transparent, we want to be open, but rejecting Sunshine Law tells them the opposite. There are 2 aspects to building trust. The first one is to be trustworthy. And I'm committed with all of you, and I know you are, to making OHA accountable and transparent. But the other part of it is our reputation. We have to work on our reputation. And if you've been watching the news and picking up the coverage of this and what beneficiaries have said, you know that they are not in favor of OHA exempting from Sunshine Law. Now, before I close my comments, I want to say this. We can be creative in ways of communicating with each other, even with the restrictions of Sunshine Law. There are a variety of things we can do. The governor himself has said if you have an important issue, he'll open his chambers where we're exempted from Sunshine Law to discuss something. In addition to that, we can do permitted interaction groups. We can even be creative with permitted interaction groups so that we can have some dealing with investments and some dealing with some of our land decisions. I won't go on, but there's a list of things we can do to work with the Sunshine Law. So what I'd like to ask you to do is consider all that you've heard the last couple of days and put as a premium that right now is the time to build trust with our lahui and with the citizens of Hawaii. And for this reason, please vote to reject the proposal of getting out of the Sunshine Law. Mahalo. Thank you for hearing me. I really appreciate
Trustee
it.
Souza.
Mahalo, Madam Chair. Mahalo, Trustee Aquino. If you guys tuned into the meeting yesterday, everyone in this room, everyone online, you heard my testimony. My testimony was in support of OHA Bill 1. For the reason stated that it restricts us from doing our job. That's how I truly, truly feel. Sunshine Law, the ledge is not bound to the Sunshine Law, which allows certain things to be done in an effective manner. And it something that affects the state of Hawaii as a whole, not only Hawaiian beneficiaries, our beneficiaries, the HHL beneficiaries. We are here to do a job, and we want to do it in a timely manner because number one reason being we're only guaranteed 4 years here, right? We're elected to this board. And we have a certain time that we want to get stuff done. I've been here for 2 years now. Sometimes I question what we've gotten done, right? If we talk about a strategic plan and certain things, we're not effective. But we're getting there. We're rebuilding. That's the most important thing. But there's definitely measures in there that I would support in its current form. If there's measures in there that we continue to show transparency, I'm all about that. We call out stuff in every single meeting. We do our homework, we read our materials. But however, I do appreciate the testimony and Kiani, you and I, we agree on certain things. And obviously today we didn't agree, but I am hearing not only from a council member, from a beneficiary as well, and my fellow trustees. And I always ask for quality discussion in this boardroom. And I really, really appreciate that because sometimes it shows a different perspective. So at this time, I'm going to be honest with each and every one of you. I'm going to change my vote to not support Bill 1. Only because, like I said, sometimes I truly feel and I'm very passionate about certain things until someone brings something new to light. And we're always learning. And so, mahalo, thank you.
Trustee Galutaria.
Thank you, Chair. You know, as you know, I'm a proponent of this bill. And I want to go on record by saying I'm going to continue to be a proponent of the bill, no matter what outcome of this vote is. I've served in the legislature. I understand the ability to be nimble. If we're going to make good decisions as a semi-autonomous board, semi-autonomy is a very interesting hybrid. We're the only one who has it as part of a government agency. Sometimes it requires movement quickly. It requires discussion quickly. If this board is going to do business with Bishop Street, which is where a lot of the action is, we're going to have to consider ourselves a part of that community too. And we're going to be required to make hard decisions quickly, because in the event something moves, something happens, has to be done, sunshine will shackle us. But you want to be trusted. You want to be trusted to make good decisions in a timely fashion. So why OHA has not asked for exemption before sometimes borders on the lack of confidence in itself. So I'm going to go on record by saying we should continue to advance this measure into the legislature. Let them craft it. We don't have to have all of Sunshine exempt. We can have portions of it exempt, but they got to know that we want to play ball with them on the same level. I'm tired of OHA groveling. OHA doesn't have to grovel. Every time at the Capitol, it's like, we're less.
Yeah.
So frankly, as a trustee, the reason I'm here is to take full advantage of this position. I want to look the governor, I want to look the Senate president, I want to look at the speaker, whoever that may be next, eye to eye. And on top of that, there has to be a value proposition for being Hawaiian in Hawaii. So that I want just to share that with you folks. I'm sorry to hear that there's going to be some changes in the votes, but I'll still be voting aye. Thank you very much. And thank you for your work, Trustee Aquino. Yep.
Any more discussions? Roll call. Oh, Trustee Ahuna.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, hey, I just wanted to just say thank you to our councilwoman for even saying anything, but to feel her passion. I'm very, very happy that she showed up and shared her stance on where we should be. And for me, I'm here for everybody, and it's about all of us. It's not about some of us. And I feel very good about saying no to this measure. And the reason why I say this is because I've been in situations when I wish we didn't have outside people, more outside people coming in, getting involved in certain issues on your island, you know. And it happened to me several times. The first one, and I want people to really know this, and it's very hard to be your island trustee and to understand the issues that really go on the island. The first one had to do with Ni'ihau. We had a 2-mile zone that was around, and I know Trustee Galataria knows about this because he was a Senate. He was in the Senate at that time. But there was a 2-mile zone, and they wanted to make sure that Ni'ihau got this 2-mile buffer zone around the whole entire island. But people on the island was really upset, and to go against OHA and to explain to OHA why I'm saying no, that we shouldn't have this 2-mile buffer zone was very hard. But it came down to how the Ni'ihauans were explaining about people who live on Kauai from Ni'ihau and people who live on Ni'ihau that still live on Ni'ihau on Kauai. And so it's, for me, it's I want to have the checks and balances. I think it's very, very important. And right now at this time, to try and pass something, especially during election season, and to even have meetings right now, to me is not even right and fair to people who are going through all of this, because I like I said, I never saw it like this before. Before we used to have a month off, and just because of how issues could stir up things and people could vote certain ways. So I'm just saying this, but for me, I just want to say I'm no all the way, and I want us to just be clear. I want the checks and balances. So thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Roll call.
Trustee Ahuna,
No.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aole.
Trustee Alapa, Trustee Galuteria, Trustee Souza, Trustee Trask has left the meeting. Trustee Waihe'e, Chair Hulu Lindsay,
Yes.
Trustee Alapa. We have one abstention, we have 4 ole, and we have 3 yes. Motion fails.
Motion.
One abstention, 4 no, and 3 yes. So it fails.
Trustee Akaka?
Yes. Thank you, colleagues. I think our conversation and discussion was good. Thank you.
Madam Chair, motion 2 to approve the measure entitled OHA 2 relating to the salary commission for the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Board of Trustees to be included in the 2025 OHA legislative package as approved in attachment B.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call. Oh, go ahead.
Madam Chair, thank you. I think we all recently saw that the governor appointed members to the Salary Commission, and I'm hopeful that that will be part of positive movement of the process that's in place to review our salaries of trustees and to make recommendations. I go back to what I shared earlier. I think we're at a time where it's absolutely crucial that we rebuild the trust in OHA. We need the trust of our beneficiaries. We need the trust of our general population, and we need the trust of legislators and council people. And it's for that reason that I think we need to be taking actions that show that we are accountable. Now, one of the arguments that was put forth as to why OHA should appoint its own commission for salary is that the monies do not come from the taxes of the state. They don't come from the state government. They come from our trust. And while that's true, accountability for the money is the issue, not the source of the money. Those are two different issues. Wherever the money comes from, we are still state government agents. We are elected by the people of Hawaii, and we are accountable to them. So for us to be elected officials, government officials that are excluded from the same kind of scrutiny that other government officials have is not a good thing. And so I just want to urge my colleagues for us to continue to work on building our trust by being trustworthy and by showing that we are committed to the kind of accountability that people want. Thank you. I hope that we will reject this proposal.
I'd just like to say on behalf of the trustees that I think this is a good measure, because I've been here 12 years and not 1 penny increase in the salary of the trustees. And that is very, very sad. We're passed over by a governor that served 8 years, and we're in the second year of this governor. And although he has appointed, finally appointed, because we haggled so much on a weekly basis on his, at his office, he finally appointed a commission. But we don't know that they'll complete their work by the deadline of the legislature. And in all fairness to the trustees that don't have a full-time job, like you, Trustee Akina, some of these trustees do not have a full-time job. They're putting in full-time work on, in their lives. So they need more money than what we're getting. What we're getting is almost second to the last of the last staff person in OHA. Our aides make more money than us. To me, that's embarrassing. I mean, they need to be a little more reasonable. So I think this is a good, in case the governor's commission does not come to a conclusion, maybe we can have a process of appointing an independent salary commission. I don't think we should approve our own salaries. I don't believe in that, but we need to find a way to not go through this process that's been holding us up. In my experience, 12 years. 12 years I've been here and not a penny raise. So I think that's unfair. And I'm just a fair person. Just saying that. Trustee Dan?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, first of all, I totally agree. It would be the most amazing thing to have a raise, especially raising kids, being a family member, doing all of that. For me, at this time, it's just like how we work in Aina. It just, like, for me, I've been talking about how we strategize and do things. It just, like, when you work in the dirt, you work, palms down. But this one looked like we stay reaching out with our palms out, like give me one raise. And we don't give ourselves raises. But the thing is, it's how we strategize to do these things. And it just doesn't look good for me. I mean, I'm not here for one free handout or anything like that either. Because the reason why they're supposed to be doing this anyway. And this is not about us. This is not about why we got to do all this commission and all that. Okay, they're not doing it. So let's find out why. But the thing is, right now, we look like the way we're asking for get that handout is with our hands out. So with that, I cannot support this. Thank you.
Okay. Any other? Trustee Galatario?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'll be voting in favor of it a second time. For me, this is not about a hand up or a handout. It's about succession. It's about attracting the best and the brightest. Now, we're attracting the best and the brightest on the administration side. We should be attracting the best and the brightest in terms of who succeeds us as a board. And unless we have parity, at least parity, with the other electeds, they will perhaps choose to go to the legislature instead of coming here to serve the Lahui. It's a matter of succession. And when do you start? Do you constantly, is it always fourth down over here or what? Are we always punting? That's a bad habit. And it seems to be ingrained in the culture. So I will be voting in favor of it. Look long-term, trustees, because we are setting up for future generations, okay? I appreciate the time. Mahalo.
Thank you. If there's no further roll call?
Trustee Ahuna,
No.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Ole.
Trustee Alapa,
Yes.
Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Ole.
Trustee Trask has left the meeting. Trustee Wahehe,
No.
Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Yes.
We have 4 yes and 4 no. Motion fails.
Trustee Akaka.
Madam Chair, motion 3, approve the measure entitled OHA 3 relating to Island Burial Council composition to be included in the 2025 OHA legislative package as provided in attachment C.
Second.
Trustee Akina.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to ask a question about the meaning of a term in there. I understand that the motion would be excluding from the membership on the burial council large landholders. Does this refer, I mean, would Kamehameha Schools or an elite trust fall under that direct definition, or maybe if someone could just clarify?
We have Kai on the line. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kai, but it's 100 acres or more in terms of land ownership. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair. Thank you, Trustee Aquino, for the question. So it's defined as a large landowner is you own or lease 100 acres or more, which is not a real, I guess, onerous definition. But that is a definition, 100 acres or more.
And my question was, does that include perhaps any elite trusts or Kamehameha? Yeah.
Certainly, Kamehameha Schools has actually sat on the borough councils in the past, representatives. They actually chaired the Molokai Council for years, Ron Kimball, as a large landowner.
So this measure would exclude them?
No.
It would exclude anybody sitting on the council representing property and development interests instead of representing next of kin family interests for burials and deceased people.
Trustee, yesterday, when you weren't here, we discussed what might have happened in Maui. I just gave an example where the landowners that were required to serve on the burial council would not attend the meeting so that the council would not have a quorum when it involved lands that they were interested in. So not requiring landowners and land developers on the council is a good thing. Then it would be anybody to serve on the councils. And we've been having difficulty finding people to serve on the burial councils on every island. So.
Okay, thank you. I'll need to research more. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Aquina,
I'll abstain.
Trustee Alapa, Trustee Galutaria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Trask left the meeting, Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Aye.
We have 7 yes and 1 abstention.
Thank you. Trustee Akaka.
Madam Chair, motion 4 to approve amending measures as needed to make appropriate technical, ministerial, non-substantive edits for style, clarity, consistency, and accuracy for final submission to the 2025 legislative session. This includes preamble language for framing and editorial purposes as needed, titles of measure for strategic and clarifying reasons, and labeling each measure for tracking.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Kanalo.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Aquina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa, Trustee Galutaria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Trask has left the meeting, Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay,
Aye.
and Trustee Ahuna.
No.
Okay, we have 1 a'ole and 7 yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna take you folks back to, oh, sorry. Trustee Akaka.
Madam Chair, motion 5, approve OHA's participation in 2025 coordinated community advocacy efforts in alignment with 1 Hawaii revised statutes 10 and 10H, 2 OHA's mission and vision, 3 OHA's strategic plan Mana Imali Ola's 3 strategic foundations Ohana Mo'omeheu Aina, 4 OHA's strategic plan Mana Imali Ola's 4 strategic directions, educational pathways, health outcomes, quality housing, and economic stability. 5 Y BOT Series 2070, 6 EV Kupuna BOT Series 2080, 7 previously approved board position and resolutions with the understanding that administration will bring forward to the Committee on Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment, BAE 2025 state legislative matters in the normal course of established processes. Example, matrices, position changes. In addition to informing BAE members and the Board of Trustees as a whole regarding status of support or supports of community advocacy efforts.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aloha.
Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa,
Yes.
Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Trask left the meeting, Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay,
Aye.
and Trustee Ahuna.
Kanaloa.
We have 1 abstention and 7 yes.
Thank you. Taking you back to action item RM 24-40, approval of OHA funding for an event sponsorship for the 2024 Papa'ali'i Royal Order of Kamehameha I Convention, October 16, 2024. I'm going to turn the time over to Board Counsel Naivi Werdeman.
Was there still a motion pending and we deferred it at that time?
Do you want me to ask for a motion?
Trustee Kina, in answer to your question, have we clarified everything? What was the question that was posed to me?
Well, there was a memo circulated regarding the moratorium on sponsorship. Excuse me, I'm sorry. We're in open session, right?
Yes.
Okay. I had simply asked a question as to whether the issues that were raised in the memo regarding the moratorium on sponsorships had been worked through, and if there were any pending issues related to this proposal. That's all. It was just a question.
Thank you for the question. I'll answer it in this way. With respect to whether there was any misunderstanding as to the type of sponsorship it was, i.e. the Board of Trustee sponsorship, that has been clarified and cleared up. And so in answer to that portion of it, yes, it is a Board of Trustee sponsorship or what's considered to be such. With respect to Board of Trustee sponsorships in general, that is an issue that may be needed to be discussed in the future. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. I take it from that you see as our council, no problems with us moving ahead and voting on that item.
I have no problems with you moving ahead in that you're ruling on or voting on whether or not to approve sponsorships to the extent that they're a Board of Trustee sponsorships.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for the
If that answers your question.
It does. Thank you.
Trustee Wahehe.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize the following fiscal year 2025 event sponsorship disbursement totaling $5,000 to Pohai o Kamehameha for the 2024 Hawaiian Royal Order of Kamehameha, the first convention.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call. Trustee Ahuna.
Okay, I just wanted to hear this straight. Did we hear it was trustee sponsorship money for the moratorium? So is that what we're okaying right now?
Yes.
Each island trustee sponsorship money right now?
No. Board.
Can somebody?
Board sponsorship.
Oh, board, okay, this is not under a moratorium. I heard moratorium. Can somebody say yes or no? Was this the money under the moratorium? Is that what I heard? Sorry.
No.
No.
Everybody's shaking their head no, but not saying.
No, I
This
just
is-
wanted to know what our board counsel said again. He said that he's it's okay to move ahead. I mean, I just wanted to know if it was under a moratorium or not. I've heard a moratorium. I remember we had a moratorium, so I just wanted to know, is it under a moratorium? Is it yes or is it no? Just simple. And if we don't know, why don't we don't know?
The moratorium applied to CEO initiated sponsorships. I've been informed that these are Board of Trustee sponsorships, which are different from the CEO initiated sponsorships, and that's what you're voting on today.
So this is our island.
No.
This is not. Okay, should I say that again now? Naive, because I really thought you said what I'm hearing.
This is considered to be Board of Trustee sponsorships versus CEO initiated sponsorships. And so you're voting in the context of it being a Board of Trustee sponsorship and not an individual trustee sponsorship. So it's considered to be a Board of Trustee sponsorship. I hope that clarifies your question.
Okay, now my next question then is there a difference between, did we have, because before we put it in a moratorium, we didn't know how to use the money, that's why. And so we had these trustee sponsorships. So all I'm trying to ask, is this the same money that we're using right now? No, it's not. If it's not, so we still gonna have our trustee sponsorship to be okay. Yes or no? Please give me answers.
Your sponsorship of $7,200 will still be in effect each year. They call it TSA now.
Yeah.
Yes, that is not the allowance we're talking about. We're talking about what's considered Board of Trustee sponsorships.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call vote for action RM 2440.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka. Aye. Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa. Aye. Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Trask has left the meeting, Trustee Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Yes,
We have 8 yes votes.
thank you. Trustee Bahe.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize the following fiscal year 2025 event sponsorship disbursement totaling $15,000 to the Friends of Iolani Palace for the 2024 Honoring Kalakaua fundraiser.
It's been moved and seconded. Any question for the Friends of Iolani Palace? Roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina, Trustee Alapa,
Yes.
Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza, Trustee Trasquez left, Trustee Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Yes,
We have 8 yes votes.
thank you. Trustee Wahehe.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize the following fiscal year 2025 event sponsorship disbursement totaling $15,000 to Ekolu Meanui for the E Ho'o Vai Vai E.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa,
Yes.
Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza, Trustee Trasquez left, Trustee Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Yes,
We have 8 yes votes.
thank you. Trustee Wahehe.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize the following fiscal year 2025 event sponsorship disbursement totaling $5,000 to Keaukaha Community Association, Inc. for the 2024 100th Centennial Celebration of Aina Ho'opulapula o Keaukaha event.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa,
Yes.
Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Trasquez left, Trustee Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Yes,
You have 8 yes votes.
thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize the following fiscal year 2025 event sponsorship disbursement totaling $5,000 to Nakua Aina o Waimanalo for the Makalehua o Waimanalo, also known as the Pride of Waimanalo.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa,
Yes.
Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Trasquez left, Trustee Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Yes,
You have 8 yes votes.
Trustee Akaka.
Madam Chair, I'll move to.
Yesterday's?
I'll make it. I'll
Okay.
move to reaffirm approval and authorization of the following fiscal year 2025 event sponsorship disbursement totaling $5,000 to Nalehu Theater for the 18th annual Waimanalo Kanikapila.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? How much was that? Okay. Roll call.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa, Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Trasquez left, Trustee Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Yes.
You have 8 yes votes.
So Board Secretary, are we done with the agenda other than community concerns?
Correct.
Are there any people wanting to speak for community concerns?
Yes, we have one person signed up. We have Jermaine Myers.
Okay.
Aloha,
Jermaine?
Chair, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, join as panelist.
Go ahead.
I just joined as panelist. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, it was kind of frightful, like others have stated. Aloha, Aloha Chair and Trustees. My name is Jermaine Myers. I'm an OHA beneficiary for Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment. I'm also a Nanakuli Hawaiian Homestead lessee. I'd like to mahalo Trustee Akaka for attending Rep. Kila's town hall last week. There was 103 in attendance. Over 100 in attendance. I'd like to mahalo you, and I'd like to later share a report of what are some of the things that were concerns, and also comments from beneficiaries that were in attendance. I'd like to also mahalo the trustees that said no to OHA being exempt from Sunshine Law, which would be also an exemption from fiscal transparency. I disagree that the legislature, by having exemption, that they make good decisions. They don't. Look at what happened with our pro rata for OHA. Look at what happened with the fact that they never wanted to repeal the height level for kaka'ako. Look at how long it took us to get an increase in our pro rata share. That's not good decisions. And yet they were exempt from Sunshine Law. I feel that Sunshine Law is required, as Councilwoman Rawlings stated, should be required by the legislature as well as all state agencies for fiscal transparency. So again, mahalo to the trustees that voted no. The next thing that I like to share with the trustees, I want to put this on the record, and I want it to be on the minutes. I want to share that last year, Kuilei's contractor, Robbie Cabral, had took me out to lunch, and she gave me a check for $100 because she said she wanted to support me for my advocacy work. However, in the memo line, when I read it later before I took it to my bank, I saw that it had Keone Souza. And so when I recalled our conversation during our lunch, she wanted me to do some research and find trash on Keone Souza so she could get him removed from the board. And so when I called her and I said, why do you have Keone Souza in the memo line? Are you trying to pay me? And you're trying to encourage me to look for, investigate Trustee Souza? And then I said, I will not do that. Like I told you during our lunchtime, I will not testify. I will not look for dirt on anyone. Only when Kilkua tells me what is going on, what I need to put my focus on, that's what I put my focus on. But I don't look to slander or to try to take down a trustee. So I want to put that on the record that I had confronted her about that memo line. And she said, so I said, I will not cash the check if that's what you're saying now, that it's in order for me to do something against Keone Souza. And so she said, oh, no. I said, no, this feels like you're setting me up when you're putting something like this in the memo line. So she said, no, it's to support the advocacy, that she can reaffirm that. But a few months later, she took me out to dinner and she again asked me to work. Well, on a different thing, she had asked me to work for her and to go to trust. She wanted me to look at, investigate things that she's interested in, and etc. I denied her proposition to be employed by her under the table paid cash. And so I just wanted to put this on the record because I'm very concerned about when I'm hearing someone say earlier that you guys are in training with Haku One. Look at the audit report. You guys were in training with Kuile. Look at under the tent, what happened there. That was such a disappointment for me. Again, when I listen to someone speak, I listen to see, are they advocating for the Lahui or for a Hui? That makes a difference, and it's very, very clear when you listen to what is being spoken. The last thing I want to share is that, there seems to be a track record of this type of treatment and this type of language when it comes to our trustee trust. Back in August of 2014, she attacked House Representative Chris Lee, who was the chair of the Energy and Environment Protection Committee in the House. She said he was racist. Why was he racist? Why was all this slander against him? Because at the time, she was a hired lobbyist for IDG Incorporated, and they were trying to get geothermal through the House, through his committee. And he was asking that some guardrails need to be, there needs to be some protection for the environment that she was against at that time. And so when I look at that, and when she was calling him a racist, because of course he's the House, at that time, he was the House of Representative for Kailua, but now he's a senator. So fast forward, we look at June of last year, Trustee Trask, Kawai Ola, Trustee Message is talking about the House refused to hear OHA's bill was redlining. Redlining is another way of saying racist against a ethnicity for living in a specific area. There seems to be a pattern of attacking someone when you don't get your way. And that is why I spoke earlier today, because that is not what I'm for. And I don't want to be associated with anyone. And so I say no when someone is trying to tell me, let's go up against Keone Souza. And so the last thing I wanted to share is that she had stated to me prior to these propositions that Trustee Souza was going to file a TRO against me because he was upset at me coming up against him at the OHA board. I said, why would someone have legal grounds for filing a TRO against me when I'm not following Trustee Souza in his personal life? I'm not attacking him anywhere. And I am coming to the board asking for correction. There's a difference between correction and criticism. And there's a difference between protecting the trust against corruption and asking for accountability. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't see I don't see a clock. That's why I'm so sorry, Chair. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. Ke akua pu, God bless all of you.
Thank you. Well, trustees, this ends our meeting for today. We don't have another meeting until it's called by our board council and our oldest serving member, not the oldest member, but the oldest serving member.
Longer serving.
Yeah. So I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa, Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Trask has left, Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
Chair Hulu Lindsay. We have an 8 yes vote. We are adjourned.
Happy Halloween.